good sponsor. Di ko na po masyadong papahabain, but in due time, the Makabayan Bloc will move to reduce the budget of the Office of the Vice President in light of these new developments. Sa bahagi lang po natin, ang manifestation ko lang po, now is not the time for protection, now is not the time for immunities, now is not the time for conditions. No? Ang kailangan ng taong bayan, transparency, paliwanag. The Filipino people deserve an acceptable explanation. We deserve better. With this po, Mr. Chair, good sponsor, I move to terminate the interpellations for the budget of the Office of the Vice President for the 2026 budget. So moved, Mr. Chair.
Majority Leader. Honorable Sponsor, Micaela Swansing is now recognized. Please proceed, Madam Sponsor.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, good evening. We are at the final stretch of the plenary deliberations for the budget for fiscal year 2026, the lump sum funds being the last to be deliberated on. On behalf of the Committee on Appropriations, I have the honor to sponsor the proposed appropriations for the special purpose funds under the fiscal year 2026 national budget. These funds, while often technical in nature, embody the weight of our government's responsibility to its people. They enable us to respond swiftly in times of crisis, extend fair and timely support to local governments, meet our obligations to workers, and sustain the national priorities that keep our economy and communities moving forward. They are, in short, instruments of stability and compassion, ensuring that government remains present and accountable, especially at the moments when our people need it most. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, for fiscal year 2026, we are proposing a total of 608.89 billion pesos for special purpose funds, or SPF. This represents 8.97% of the 6.79 trillion pesos total expenditure program. It is 81.95 billion pesos higher than the current year's level, or a 15.6% increase, underscoring our commitment to protect our people, meet our obligations, and sustain our country's growth momentum. Allow me to walk you through the details. First, the allocation to local government units, or ALGU, is proposed at 65.73 billion pesos. Of this, the Metro Manila Development Authority will receive 5.88 billion pesos. Net of MMDA, the ALGU stands at 59.85 billion pesos, lower by 7.96 billion pesos or 11.7% compared to 2025, as shares are adjusted in line with certified collections and formula-based entitlements. Next, the Local Government Support Fund, or the LGSF, is pegged at 16.08 billion pesos. This includes 5 billion pesos for financial assistance to LGUs, 8.08 billion pesos for the support to barangay development program of the NTF-LCAC, 1 billion pesos each for the Growth Equity Fund, the Green program, and support and assistance to participatory budgeting. Meanwhile, the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, BARM, is allocated 10.59 billion pesos. This amount includes 5 billion pesos for the Special Development Fund, now in its 7th year of a 10-year commitment to rehabilitate conflict-afflicted communities, and 5.59 billion pesos representing BARM's shares in national taxes, fees, charges as certified by the BIR. Second, the budgetary support to government corporations, or BSGC, is set at 149.65 billion pesos, a 17.4% increase. This provides expanded support to GOCCs delivering critical programs, including the restored subsidy for PhilHealth at 53.26 billion pesos to cover insurance premiums of indigent Filipinos. It also supports the National Electrification Administration, the Power Sector Assets and Liabilities Management Corporation, and the Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation, among others. Third, the contingent fund is maintained at 13 billion pesos, the same level as in 2024 and 2025. This fund addresses unforeseen obligations, such as final and executory legal rulings or operational requirements of newly created offices. It is important to stress that this fund cannot be used for confidential or intelligence expenses of civilian agencies, nor for the purchase of motor vehicles. Fourth, the Miscellaneous Personal Benefits Fund, or MPBF, is proposed at 111.52 billion pesos, slightly higher than last year. This will provide for the performance-based bonus for fiscal year 2024, the filling of vacancies, subsistence allowances for uniformed personnel, additional healthcare benefits such as the 7,000 pesos annual medical allowance for civil servants, salary adjustments, and staffing modifications. These are not perks, but rather rightful benefits and lawful obligations to our public servants. Fifth, the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Fund, or the NDRRMF, is proposed at 31 billion pesos, an almost 48% increase. This allocation will strengthen pre-disaster measures, relief, and recovery efforts with 15.3 billion pesos for immediate aid and 14.7 billion pesos for the repair and reconstruction of permanent structures. An additional 1 billion pesos is earmarked for climate adaptation projects under the People's Survival Fund. For a country so often visited by typhoons, earthquakes, and other natural calamities, these resources are a necessity, not a choice. Sixth, the Pension and Gratuity Fund, or the PGF, is pegged at 197.99 billion pesos, an increase of 36.8%. This ensures that we meet our obligations to civilian and military retirees, covering pensions, retirement, and terminal leave benefits, and separation incentives. This also partly restores the cuts made by Congress in 2025, aligning appropriations with validated retiree lists and the pension requirements of military and uniformed personnel. Finally, the revised AFP Modernization Program, or the RAF-PMP, is proposed at 40 billion pesos, or 5 billion pesos higher than in 2025. This will allow us to continue modernizing the armed forces, acquiring and upgrading critical equipment and systems to keep our defense forces mission-ready and responsive. Mr. Speaker, esteemed colleagues, at the heart of these special purpose funds lies a simple truth. They are not abstract numbers, but lifelines. They are guided by formulas where the law requires, but by certifications where revenues determine shares, and by prudence where flexibility is needed. Ultimately, they serve three purposes we all share. First, to protect our people, to empower our local communities, and to honor the commitments of government. With your support, we can ensure that our budget remains not only responsive and credible, but also worthy of the trust of the Filipino people, the trust that they have vested in us. Together, we can prepare our nation, not just for today's challenges, but for the future of the constituencies we serve. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I respectfully move for the approval of fiscal year 2026 special purpose funds, and as we deliberate on these measures, or this measure rather, let us please be reminded that every peso we allocate is an investment in the trust of our people and in the future of our nation. With this, I yield the floor, ready to listen to the wisdom and questions of this august chamber, and hopeful that together we will chart a path that strengthens both our institutions and our people. Maraming salamat po.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize Representative Chel Jokno of Akbayan Party List to interpolate the sponsor of the proposed budget of lump sum funds.
The Honorable Jokno is now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good evening to the Chair of the Committee on Appropriations, the tireless Chair, and this distinguished sponsor, as well as the family of the Department of Budget and Management. I hope you don't mind, Madam Chair, if I ask some questions about the unprogrammed appropriations. First of all, as we understand that concept, the unprogrammed appropriations are really meant to be standby authority for certain funds na kung may dagdag na pondo mula sa loans, grants, o excess revenue, saka lang sila mailalabas. These items aren't itemized. That's why they may be vulnerable to abuse and other issues involving what we heard from previous budgets. Ang una kong pong tanong, hindi ba't kaya mas makabubuti kung mag-program na lang ng transparent line items sa GAA para sa mga pangunahing serbisyo gaya ng edukasyon, kalusugan at rules-based social protection, imbis na ilagay sa unprogrammed appropriations? Kasi ang nakita po natin ay umaabot sa almost 250 billion ang UA sa ating 2026 proposed budget.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, we agree on the same, that it is better to have these items programmed and listed as separate line items on the budget.
I noticed that, for example, there are some items in the NEP for unprogrammed appropriations that are in the nature of social protection. For example, you have the strengthening assistance for government infrastructure and social programs, among others. At ang tanong ko po natin dito ay, because these are not line items put in the regular appropriations, in effect, the Executive Department through the DBM would have broad discretion to decide how this will be released. Would this not be transferred?
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, there are certain items that would require really intervention in the middle of the year. For example, there are support of foreign assisted projects. May mga pagkakataon po na may mga commitments tayo na bigla natin kailangang ipasok. So maganda po na meron din po tayong paghuhugutan para doon. Yun po yung mga tinatawag natin na mga FAPs. There are instances also where you would have to provide additional budgetary support to GOCCs. So while we do recognize that generally mas maganda po talaga kapag naka-line item po lahat at naka-program, there are certain instances wherein we would need to pull from unprogrammed funds in order to immediately respond to needs as they arise.
I noticed, Madam Sponsor, that some of the items put in the unprogrammed appropriations appear to be big-ticket, pre-planned programs. Aside from what I mentioned earlier, you have as well the 97 billion for foreign assisted projects, 6.7 billion for health emergency allowances, and the earlier mentioned strengthening assistance for government infrastructure and social programs. They would appear to me to be clearly programmed obligations that should be under a regular budget rather than put in the unprogrammed appropriations.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, with regards to FAPs in particular, if we may use that as an example. So in the current NEP, there's about 97 billion on program. So as per the DBM, the reason why ideally we would want to put FAPs in as specific line items either mostly under the DPWH or DOTR, as that would be the ideal situation. However, there are instances wherein a particular FAPs project has been approved by the ICC. It's the Infrastructure Coordinating Council, Investment Coordination Committee, and as much as that would the the DBM would want to include that as a separate line item, it no longer made the cutoff. There's a cutoff date po kasi by which the EDC, the Economic Development Council, would need to approve a particular FAPS program for it to make it into the NEP as a separate line item. So while we recognize that ideally we would want most of the appropriations to be put in as programmed projects, separate PAPs, there are instances wherein we would need to put some into the unprogrammed appropriations. But rest assured, on the part of the DBM and on the part of the Committee on Appropriations, when we have these unprogrammed appropriations, we will put in the necessary safeguards in order to ensure that these are utilized for specific purposes that are really necessary.
Thank you, Madam Sponsor. Those safeguards, I think, are very, very vital. Going back to the strengthening assistance for government infrastructure and social programs, the amount of 80 billion more or less. Para saan po ba itong programang ito? Since there are already infrastructure and social programs in our regular budget, saan po mapupunta itong 80 billion na napakalaking halaga?
Mr. Speaker, in terms of the strengthening assistance for government infrastructure and social programs, as of now, the 80 billion that is there in the NEP would be readied for the purpose of disbursement for the following infrastructure projects and social programs, such as, but not limited to, construction, restoration, or improvement of roads, bridges, farm-to-market roads, buildings and flood control projects, electrification projects, agriculture-related programs and projects, and financial assistance to indigent individuals or families. Such purpose covers urgent and high-priority social protection programs, social services, and infrastructure projects which require national government support. So only for those, these purposes primarily, but not limited to the aforementioned purposes.
Kung yun po ang mga pupuntahan niyan, bakit hindi na lang natin ilagay sa line items under the program appropriations?
Mr. Speaker, again, I agree with my distinguished colleague that as much as possible, we would want to put as much of the social protection programs in as a separate line item. However, there have been instances in the past, and it actually happens on a yearly basis, that there are certain programs that would need to be triggered that were not initially planned for. For example, po, the health emergency allowance during the time of COVID. It was an unanticipated event that was not funded for or prepared for in the GAA for that year. So dun po natin kinuha yan sa SAGIP. Also, there are instances wherein the AIX, the funds for AIX has been depleted for the year, and then towards the end of the year, bigla pong may malaking kalamidad na kailangan pong respondehan. So those are extraordinary circumstances wherein we would need to access the SAGIP fund in order to add more towards the social protection programs already provided for in the GAA as separate line items.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since I only have a very short time left, I just have one last question and one request from the department. Kahapon po sa meeting ng Committee on Dangerous Drugs, lumabas na the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act has a provision that was passed way back in 2002 that abolished all the anti-drug, illegal drug units in the PNP, NBI, and the customs and ordered their transfer and absorption to the PIDEA. Pero 23 taon na po at hindi pa rin na-implement yung batas na yan. May I know if the DBM has any development plan for making sure that this will become a reality?
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I will quickly confer po with DBM on this. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, upon conferring with the DBM, we are aware po of the particular provision in that law which requires the transfer of the rehabilitation centers previously lodged under the Dangerous Drugs Board to the DOH. But may we respectfully request po my distinguished colleague, Mr. Speaker, to please read out the provision po
I
on
was-
what would need to be transferred
Thank
to
you,
the...
Mr. Speaker, Madam Chair. I wasn't referring to the rehabilitation centers. I was referring to the abolition of the anti-illegal drug units under Section 86 of RA 9165, and they're transferred to the PIDEA. The contemplation of the comprehensive drugs law was really to make the PIDEA the central arm for all anti-illegal drug operations. That was way back in 2002. Pero hanggang ngayon po ay nandun pa yung mga PNP anti-drug units at iba pang mga law enforcement. Hindi na naging reality yung utos ng Kongreso na ilipat sa PIDEA yon. But I would understand if you don't have the data now, but I would request, because this was an issue that came up in Committee on Dangerous Drugs yesterday, that we be provided. Ang sabi po ng PIDEA, hindi nila ma-absorb dahil kulang sila ng plantilla at kulang din sila ng budget for the PIDEA Academy, among other reasons.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, as of now, there is no pending request from PIDEA for the creation of these new plantilla positions. We are grateful to our distinguished colleague for bringing that up. So the DBM commits to reach out to the PIDEA to ask them about the status of the creation of these offices under PIDEA. And as soon as PIDEA is ready to provide the programming, particularly with regard to how many additional plantilla positions they would need, the DBM commits to immediately fund that. Kung aabot po ngayong taon, the DBM commits to pull that from the MPBF of 2025. Kung hindi naman po, ipapasok po natin sa MPBF ng 2026. So we're grateful to our distinguished colleague for bringing that up kasi as of now po, wala daw pong request yung PIDEA for the creation of these new plantilla
Thank you.
positions.
I'm sure PIDEA would be happy. One last, Mr. Speaker, if I may, very short. Kaya po mismo, Madam Chair, in one of the interviews previously, mentioned that about 141 billion ang nailabas noong 2023 at 2024 unprogrammed appropriations for flood control projects. I will not go deeply into this. I know this was before your time. Ang tanong ko lang po sa department ay, handa po ba ang DBM na isubmit sa Kongreso ang kompletong listahan ng lahat ng proyekto na napondohan mula sa unprogrammed appropriations? Kasama na rin po ang SARO at ang mga revenue certifications mula sa Treasury so that we can be assured of where that money went, kung saan po napunta yung pera.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, as per our commitment that was during the first day po of the plenary deliberations, that was a request po from several of our distinguished colleagues to provide the detailed breakdown of the list of projects released from unprogrammed appropriations. So that list has been provided to several of our colleagues, and we will be sharing the same po to our distinguished colleague with all the details. And on the part of the DBM po, the next step actually is we are actually already closely coordinating with the DPWH to provide the status of the status of completion of these projects. I think that is the visibility that we need po at this point in time, because on the part of the DBM, they have visibility as to which projects have been released, kung alin na po yung may SARO. But as to the actual status of the completion of these projects released under unprogrammed appropriations, kasalukuyan pong hinihingi ng DBM yun sa DPWH. So as soon as we have that information, the DBM would also be very happy to share the same to our distinguished colleague.
Thank you so much, Madam Madam distinguished sponsor. And Mr. Speaker, may I just say that I am really kudos and saludo po sa inyo sa lahat ng ginagawa niyong trabaho para sa budget. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much po. I am honored and grateful po for the recognition from the Honorable Shell Jokno. Maraming salamat po. Before I end lang po, there was one question lang po from our distinguished colleague that I was not able to address. This pertains po to the status of the PIDEA Academy. Upon conferring po with the DBM, that has also not been raised by the DBM, but the same way po with regard to the creation of the plantilla positions, we will also revert to PIDEA on this and update our distinguished colleague on the status of the same. Maraming salamat po.
Majority Leader.
Speaker, I move to recognize Representative Percy Sandanya of Akbayan Party List to interpolate the sponsor of the proposed budget of lump sum funds.
The Honorable Sendanya is now recognized.
Magandang gabi po, Mr. Speaker, and good evening to the very thorough and indefatigable Chairperson of the Committee on Appropriations, our distinguished sponsor this evening. Still on the issue of unprogrammed appropriations. This has been very tumultuous and challenging times politically for many institutions in government. And we have seen how unprogrammed appropriations budget can be a conduit of irregularities and corruption. Nakita natin kung paano ito ginagamit para mabudgetan ng flood control at iba pang mga duplicate infrastructure project. Kaya nga po, marami ang nananawagan na dapat i-zero out ito. What are the thoughts of the good secretary of the DBM on this particular proposal from our citizens?
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, upon conferring with our Honorable DBM Secretary, so in terms of the different programs under unprogrammed appropriations, ang talaga pong kailangan, the ones that are necessary to be retained under unprogrammed appropriations would be the following. The first would be the budgetary support to government-owned and controlled corporations. Next would be support to foreign-assisted projects as these pertain to bilateral, multilateral commitments. And the third would be the program on risk management. Yun lang po kasi kailangan na pag may biglaan po, if there's a situation that arises that is unanticipated, that's very important po for the DBM and the government to be able to pull from unprogrammed appropriations. But as to the particular item concerning strengthening assistance for government infrastructure and social programs, yung tinatawag po na SAGIP, which has been the subject of a lot of the questions and a lot of the questionable items that have been released. The DBM recognizes that if the wisdom of the collective wisdom of the House of Representatives is to no longer have any budget under SAGIP in particular, that is something that the DBM would be amenable to.
And that this representation will support. Let's go back to how we are practicing ito pong pag-release ng pondo under unprogrammed appropriations. Mr. Speaker, Madam Sponsor, can we confirm that there are conditions para ma-release ang unprogrammed appropriation funds? Ano po yung mga conditions na ito?
That is correct. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, the first very important condition is that there has to be a special budget request emanating from the head of the agency. And after that po, there are other relevant budgetary requirements that would need to be attached to that. And there also has to be particular conditions for the different types of programs. For example po, in the case of support to foreign assisted projects and budgetary support to GOs, CCs, okay lang po if there are no new excess or no new revenue collections. But in the case of other types of programs under the unprogrammed appropriations, such as personnel benefits, social services, Government of the Philippines counterpart to FAPS, infrastructure projects, kailangan po na mayroong certification that there is an excess or new revenue collection. So yun po yung primary requirement na kailangan pong isumite sa DBM.
Sino po ang magde-determine if the conditions and the requirements were fulfilled para ma-release ang mga unprogrammed appropriations?
Mr. Speaker, upon receipt of the special budget request from the head of agency of the particular department, there is an evaluation team within the Department of Budget and Management who looks into these requests and assesses whether it should be released or not. So with regard to the specifics as to how the evaluation team looks into it, so the DBM Bureau Service Office, or the BSO concerned, shall evaluate the agency special budget request pursuant to existing evaluation parameters, such as alignment, shovel readiness, absorptive capacity, fiscal position, and prioritization, and review the submissions versus the documentary requirements stated as mentioned earlier, to determine one of the following recommendations. So, tatlo po yung pwede nila maging desisyon. The first is to approve the special budget request if the request and supporting documents are found to be complete, in order, and if evaluation establishes the need for release. The second po would be to disapprove it if the request does not meet the required criteria, and the third would be to return it to the agency if the request is lacking in required documents.
Marami pong salamat, distinguished sponsor, Mr. Speaker. Pasensya na po, pero I just have to ask this question to emphasize a very important point. Sino nga po uli ang may power of the purse?
As per the Constitution po, it will be the Congress.
It is the Congress. Pero sa napakalaking unprogrammed appropriations po nitong mga nakakaraang taon, na halos kasing laki na ng program appropriations, parang hindi na Kongreso ang lumalabas na may power of the purse. Parang DBM na yata. Para pong na-delegate sa DBM ang power of the purse. Kaya nga po napapakamot na lang tayo ng ulo na paano nakalusot sa DBM ang pag-release ng napakalaking flood control projects under unprogrammed appropriations. A question that we have been asking time and again since the beginning of this budget cycle. And I'm sure that the answer will not come today, but it will be the outcome of the many investigations that are being done. So let me proceed to the next point, Mr. Speaker, Madam Distinguished Sponsor. The biggest budget line under a program appropriations, as mentioned earlier, is the support to foreign assistance projects. Nabanggit na po yung amount kanina, pero just for the recollection of this representation, magkano nga po ang inilaan natin dito?
For support to foreign assisted projects, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, for the 2026 NEP, 97.305 billion pesos po.
So 97.3 billion pesos. Nung na-review po natin ang list ng foreign assisted projects for the fiscal years 2023 to 2025, a big chunk of them are infrastructure projects. Kung puro infra ang mga foreign assisted project, is it safe to assume na halos sa infra projects din mapupunta itong budget na ito for 2026?
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, the budget would that pertain to the unprogrammed appropriations?
Yes, for the support to foreign assistance project for 2026.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, I have here the list of foreign assisted projects that are programmed. Programmed may not be the term, but have been identified to be lodged within the 97.3 billion pesos under unprogrammed appropriations. Yes, we recognize that a lot of these relate to infrastructure projects. However, there are also projects that are geared towards different agencies in different sectors. Halimbawa po, under DAR, while this is also an infrastructure project, it's a bridge that would be built for the benefit of farmers. Ang tawag po dito, pang-alaying tulay para sa bagong bayanihan na magsasaka. That amounts to about 1.9 billion pesos. Apart from those lodged within DPWH and DOTR that are mostly infrastructure projects, there are also projects amounting to 33.7 billion under the DSWD. So these are, a majority of this actually po is what we call reducing food insecurity and undernutrition with electronic vouchers refuel project. So 24.1 billion pesos po yun. Meron din pong panahon ng pagkilos Philippine Community Resilience Project or the PCRP amounting to 9.5 billion pesos. So if we look at the breakdown, and this is something that we could also share with our distinguished colleague, there are big ticket items here. Around over a third, actually, of the foreign assisted projects identified under the unprogrammed appropriations that are non-infrastructure in nature.
So it means that more than half of these projects are infrastructure in nature. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague.
Mr. Speaker, Madam Chairperson of the Committee of Appropriations and our sponsor, yun naman pong second biggest ay yung strengthening assistance for government infrastructure and social programs. Ang nakalagay po dito, ang nilaan natin ay 80.9 billion pesos. So sigurado po ako, ito ay mapupunta rin sa infrastructure. Kung susumahin po natin, halos 70% na unprogrammed appropriations sa 2026 budget ay infrastructure project. We could have invested this in health. Kung tutusin, halos 3 billion lang ang lamang na unprogrammed appropriations sa DOH budget. We could have invested this in education, pero bakit puro infra pa rin?
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, upon conferring with the DBM, and this is something that we could look further into, kasi dalawa po yung pwedeng ipasok sa SAGIP. The first would be the social programs and the second would be infrastructure. If the collective wisdom of Congress is to take out that provision that allows the release for infrastructure and gear it mostly towards social programs, including health, that would be something that the DBM would be amenable to considering din po.
And we welcome that position of the DPM, Mr. Speaker, Madam Sponsor. May kasabihan po ang mga bagets. Ang sabi nila, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Pero taon-taon na lang nakakalula ang budget ng infrastructure projects kahit malaking source ito ng corruption. If the House passes this, ang itatanong ng taong bayan, full as thrice, 4 times, 5 times, hanggang hindi na mabilang. And if that happens, who are we to shame now? Let me now proceed to my next set of questions. I apologize to my colleagues in the Committee on Rules. As I promised, I will keep this below 10 minutes, but that is not possible. Naka 10 minutes naman po ako ng aking pass to interpellation. So I think I have a pre-pass to extend a bit more beyond the 10-minute commitment. Let's now go to the public health emergency benefits. Nandun din po ito sa kategoryang ito. Para saan po ang public health emergency benefits and allowances for healthcare and non-healthcare workers worth 6.8 billion pesos?
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, so that particular item, public health emergency benefits and allowances for healthcare and non-healthcare workers amounting to around 2 billion pesos, actually exactly 2 billion pesos under the GAB is geared towards paying the arrears of COVID-19 allowance and compensation of eligible healthcare and non-healthcare workers from July 1, 2021.
From July 1, 2021. So ito po ay utang ng gobyerno sa mga healthcare workers at non-healthcare workers nung panahon pa ng COVID. Is that correct, Madam Sponsor, Mr. Speaker?
That is correct, Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleague.
Tama rin po ba na delayed na ito ng 4 years kasi 2021 pa?